So a couple of years ago I made a video called Not All Gay Guys Like Anal Sex, and in that video I talked about the fact that I am a side, which means I am a gay man who does not enjoy penetrative sex. And that video got so many questions, and so many people who I've met in the real world and so many of my friends have also asked me so many questions about this. So I just kind of wanted to do a little update video today to give you guys a little bit more information. So I'm just going to go through some of the questions that people have asked me over the years, and I'm going to be honest, I do find some of these questions a little bit offensive, but in the name of sex education I'm gonna answer them anyway. So the first question is, how can you be gay and not like anal sex? So this is probably the question I get asked the most, and it's actually kind of ridiculous when you think about it. The fact that I'm gay simply means that I'm attracted to men. What I want to do with those men is a completely different thing. I think society kind of looks at homosexuality and anal sex as being synonymous, but they're absolutely not. There are plenty of gay men out there like myself who don't necessarily enjoy anal sex, and that is perfectly fine and that's perfectly okay, and that doesn't make me any less of a gay man. I'm gay, I just do not like anal sex. The next one is, you're just afraid of bottoming. Now I get this one all the time and it's so unbelievably infuriating. I'm absolutely not afraid of bottoming and I'm not afraid of topping either. I just don't enjoy them. I did have a lot of anal sex before I realised I was a side. I was kind of going through a phase of kind of coming to terms with that. So I had a lot of anal sex then, and I bottomed plenty of times without it hurting. So, you know, people always say, oh, you're just afraid of the pain, you just can't handle the pain. It's absolutely not the case. I just don't enjoy it. I just don't want to do it. You don't know you don't like it until you've tried it. Now, gay men actually say this to me, and I find that absurd and absolutely ridiculous, because that is what straight people have been saying to gay people for so long, trying to get them to try straight sex. And this is exactly the same thing. Now, I have tried anal sex, like I said, and I did realise that I didn't like it, but before I ever tried it, I also knew that I didn't want to do it. Now, I am a person who says, go out there, experiment, do everything, try everything once, but if you do believe you are a side and you have absolutely no desire to have anal sex, then there is absolutely nothing that says you have to. Just because you're a gay man, you do not have to have anal sex. And if you don't want to, you don't have to even try it. I'm gonna try not to roll my eyes as I read this one. So you don't have sex. This bothers me so much. Just because I don't have anal sex, people say to me all the time, oh, you don't have sex then. And it's so demeaning and belittling. Like, it takes away this such an important life experience. Like, sex is such an important and wonderful part of life, and then people just come along and go, oh, so you don't stick your dick in an ass, then you're not having sex. And it's just, I hate it. Like, I really hate it when people say that to me, and people say things to me like, oh, so you just have foreplay, or oh, you just do hand jobs and blow jobs then. And I really don't like it. It really is belittling. So if you ever are talking to a person who is a side, or a person who thinks they are a side, please don't say that, because it really just makes us feel about this big, and it's not a nice feeling. I've even had guys I've dated in the past, and they've said, oh yeah, but we've never had sex, you know, our relationship isn't real because we've never had sex. And I get that they're frustrated because they're not getting what they want out of the relationship, but at the same time, to kind of diminish the experiences we've had together. You know, sometimes amazing sexual experiences. It hurts. It's hurtful when people say that I don't have sex just because I don't do that. Because I do, and you know, there's 1,000,001 things that you can do in the bedroom with another person. You know, there are lesbians out there who don't have penetrative sex. There are transgender people who don't. There are probably even straight people who don't. So I think we really need to move away from this idea that sex means penetration, because it really doesn't. Like, sex means so much more than that. The next one I get all the time is that sex without penetration must be really boring. And I get where these people are coming from, because these are obviously people who really enjoy anal sex, so they're finding it hard to kind of understand why another person wouldn't and how boring that must be. But if I'm going to be completely honest, and I don't want to offend anyone when I say this, to me, penetrative sex seems really boring. There are so many things two naked people can do together, and if you think that sex without penetration must be incredibly boring, then honestly, I probably think that says more about you than it does about me. Okay, so we're gonna get really personal with this next one. He's not a side. There's videos of him bottoming on the internet. Like, yes, guys, we're all adults here and we've all addressed the fact that there are pornographic videos of me on the internet. And yes, in those videos, I did bottom. That doesn't, however, mean that I enjoy anal sex. Many adult actors do many things on screen that they don't necessarily enjoy. I was also much, much younger. This was 7 years ago. This was long before I ever figured out that I was a side. So yes, those videos are out there, but that doesn't change the fact that I am a side, and it doesn't change the fact that I don't enjoy anal sex. When did you find out that you were a side? So, I never ever enjoyed anal sex. I never did. But it wasn't until I was 23 I read an article in Attitude magazine that was talking about sides, and that was the first time that I realised that it was a thing. And when I realised it was a thing, suddenly I felt so much more okay and better about the fact that I didn't enjoy anal sex, because before that, I thought that there was honestly something wrong with me. I didn't understand why all the gay men around me loved anal sex, and I just wasn't interested in the slightest. So it was at 23, so it's been 3-4 years now of me kind of understanding and appreciating that I'm a side and talking about it and telling people. And I think as well, like, the more people I've told that I'm a side, the more people who have kind of come out to me and said, oh my god, that's me as well. And like, every single time I have a conversation about being a side, so many people say to me, I didn't realise that was a thing. So like, I really do want to kind of spread the word more, because I think there are way more sides out there than we realise. Okay, so how do you find other sides? Now, this is probably one of the most difficult things about being a side, is finding other men who feel the same way. Like, people don't tend to talk about it very much. You don't see it on dating apps and things like that. So it can be really difficult. And to be completely honest, I've never been actively able to search for other men who feel this way. I have dated a few guys who have been sides, but that's just been a happy coincidence. So I guess it's kind of about communication and talking to the people you meet, and you'll probably start, the more you have that conversation, the more you'll start to realise that there are a lot more men who feel this way than you realise. Do you only date other sides? No, absolutely not. I date people who are tops, bottoms, people who are verse, people who are sides. I've dated everyone, and I really try not to let people's sexual preferences get in the way of dating them and finding out who they are as a person. But there have been a few cases where, you know, I've been on dates with people who are, you know, top only, and they love to top, and that's their favourite thing in the world, and a sexual experience isn't even worth it to them if they're not topping. And I completely get that, and I completely understand that, and I respect that. But it just, unfortunately, means that we're not sexually compatible. However, I do find that in most cases that there is a certain degree of compromise there. I've had really healthy sexual relationships with bottoms before, for instance, who have been happy to just, you know, experiment with other things and try different things. So I think don't necessarily write somebody off because your two, like, sexual identities don't fit together. Like, I do think there are ways that you can compromise and work through it. Sometimes it won't work out, sometimes it will, but if you don't try, then you'll never know. Can straight people be sides? Honestly, I have no idea. I've never met a straight person who is a side, but I'm gonna say that absolutely yes they can, because why not? You know, I think society has this idea again that sex is a man putting his penis into a woman's vagina, and you know, we know that that isn't what sex is, but you know, that's kind of drilled into people. So the majority of straight people probably think that that's what they have to do, and I do wonder how many straight people actually are out there who don't necessarily enjoy that. I don't know the answer, but I'm gonna say that yes, that there almost definitely will be straight people out there who are sides and don't enjoy penetrative sex. And lastly, will you ever have anal sex again? Now that is a very personal question, but then this is a very personal video, so I will answer it. I don't know, to be completely honest with you. I don't know if I'll ever have anal sex again. I would very, very happily go the rest of my life without ever having anal sex again. However, like I mentioned before, I'm all about compromise in a relationship. And if I fall in love with somebody who really wants to top or bottom now and then I will absolutely do that with them, because giving them pleasure would give me pleasure, and that would make me happy. You know, I'm not saying it's something that I actively want to do, it's absolutely not, but I think there is a certain degree of compromise in a relationship, so I'm not saying no, I'm also not saying yes. I don't know is the answer, but I might. So yeah, I really, really do hope that this shed a little bit more light on what it is like to be a gay man who is a side. If you do have any more questions, please do leave them in the comments below, and I'll either reply or I'll answer them in a video in future. So yeah, thank you so much for watching as always, guys. Do give this video a thumbs up, do leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys very, very soon. See ya!